This week's route has taken our experts from Cromarty, down the stunning northeast of Scotland, over to the west, to their final destination in Ayrshire. On today's last leg, they're heading for the final auction in Ayr. First stop is the village of Kilbarchan.
Oh, that's come on. Must be easier ways to make a living, isn't it?
A village in the west central lowlands, Kilbarchan's church steeple dominates the village skyline. Built in 1755, it houses a bronze statue of Robert Habby Simpson, Kilbarchan's famous left-handed piper. Not a lot of people know that.
Oh, there's plenty for you to get your teeth in.
Established in 1950, Gardner's Antiques has a vast array of antiques and collectibles. And with its strict no haggling policy, I wonder how the chaps will get on.
Goodness me. I'll go up there. Good luck. Good hunting.
And with that, Charlie gets straight to work with owner David.
It's rather a sweet, very sweet little propelling pencil.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, it would be too much for me to expect that to be gold, wouldn't it?
I think probably. Let me have a little look. No, I certainly don't see any marks on it. No, it's not priced as gold, certainly, is it?
No, it certainly isn't, but I was just wondering whether it might be.
I certainly don't see any marks on it.
Perhaps I should be taking a little gamble. Let's do a bit of Sherlock Holmes work on here. I think that's absolutely charming. And the price of that is £20. This would have been kept in a small purse belonging to a lady, perhaps if she went out dancing and had a little dance card and wanted to write down the names of the people that she had been chosen to dance with. That's the sort of thing you'd find in a smart purse. And I think it's a charming little lot. I'd like to make an investment, if I may.
Absolutely.
It's not a big one, but hopefully I'm going to find more.
£20 well spent, Charlie. David's no haggling policy sure makes for speedy negotiations.
This looks interesting. I'm going to sit down. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, hello. All damage to be paid for. Oh, slightly vulnerable to damage, this one. But what a piece.
Damage caused by you, I think, James.
This is what the Impressionists and the Victorians, that 1850 period to 1900, this is what they love. We got some deterioration, like a sort of dry rot there, but putting the dry rot, the cracks, and the other damage aside, this is still quite a nice piece, isn't it?
Yeah, OK then, James. So what is it?
What have we got on this? £68? And this is my first purchase. I love this piece, and it's going to make me a large profit.
I really hope so, James. This rare early Meiji period Japanese container could have been used to house kimonos or even Japanese gym jams.
David, can you tell me about this fella? It's rather taken my eye.
Japanese, probably early 20th century, possibly a bit earlier. Quite a bit of Japanese import brought into Glasgow, obviously, with being a big port city.
Yeah.
A lot of ships' captains and crews coming back brought things home.
Right.
So
You haven't got the lid to it?
we don't have the lid for that one, no. This one's as it stands there, I'm afraid. A few wee knocks and bumps, but a bit unusual.
Yeah. I know the terms here, David.
Absolutely.
There you are, my good man.
Thank you very much indeed. I shall take the ticket off it then.
£68 spent. Well done, James. But what about Charlie?
There's something rather ornate, small. I imagine an inkwell. Yes, it is an inkwell. French. Chanlève enamel. Not brilliant enamelling, but really not bad quality. And then we've got a little porcelain plaque at the bottom here. And it's really quite a charming object. It is £54. I think this is worth more money than £54. I really do.
Champ-levé is a technique in which troughs or cells are carved into the surface of a metal object and filled with enamel.
I think that's really quite sweet. I'll have that, sir, if I may.
Thank you very much indeed.
That's two very nice purchases under your belt, Charlie.
Brackers, take me away before I spend any more money.
How many items have you bought?
Ah, that's for you to find out, Brackers. I haven't spent much money, but I'm pleased with what I bought.
No.
But then, Brackers, I'm always pleased
I'm
with what I
always
bought
pleased as
until the
well.
hammer falls.
Until the hammer falls.
Back on the road, the boys are heading 7 miles east to Paisley, where Charlie's giving himself a little treat. Now, Paisley is the largest town in Renfrewshire, with a beautiful 12th century medieval abbey. By the 19th century, Paisley had established itself as a centre of the weaving industry, and today Charlie Ross has come to the Paisley Museum to find out more. Agile for his age.
Don't forget to pick me up.
OK, very well, will do.
Bossy. The Paisley Museum is home to the world's finest collection of Paisley shawls and pattern books. Charlie is meeting curator of textiles, Dan.
Now, Dan, where did it all start? That's what I want to know.
The Paisley shawl was an imitation of the cashmere shawl, which came to Europe in the 1770s, and it was a really expensive item. So the European manufacturers tried to produce a cheaper version of this, and that's what gave birth to the Paisley shawl.
Right.
Mechanical production techniques cut the time taken to weave the intricate designs, which include botte, resembling a teardrop. The kidney-shaped Paisley pattern is therefore Indian in origin, copying the costly silk and wool cashmere jobbies.
These are designs done out the same size and colour as they will appear in the finished cloth.
Right.
And then you'll see there's a grid, a pencil grid superimposed on it. That's because this has now to be put on to what we call point paper or design paper.
The design is transferred from the point paper into a series of punched cards.
I put in a blank card
Yeah.
into this here, and then I read it across each lines, and I have 8 punches here at the back, and I punch the card according to the design.
The cards are punched one at a time, usually one for each horizontal line in the design.
Now, the thing about the Paisley shawl is you need 1 card for every colour. So if you have 5 colours in the line, you're going to have 5 cards for that. So that's why in some of the Paisley shawls you have over 50,000 cards.
50,000?
Yes.
When the whole of the design has been punched into the cards, they are placed in sequence and laced together to form a continuous band. The chain of cards is then placed on top of the loom. The cards select the threads to be raised to produce the pattern on the cloth.
So if you look here, you have a gap, which we call a shed, and there's some yarns raised and the others are down.
Yeah.
The ones that are raised are where I've punched the holes. The ones that are down is where I have left the blanks.
Right.
The weaver throws the shuttle carrying the weft yarn through the shed. This action is repeated for every card until the pattern is produced on the cloth.
How long would it take?
It really depends on what type of cloth you're producing. Because if you're weaving a tweed, you could weave maybe 30 yards a day.
Really?
If you're weaving a figured velvet, you'd be working equally as hard and you'd probably produce 1 inch a day.
Creating these amazing shawls was an incredibly complex process, and weavers in the 19th century were highly skilled, weaving 12 to 18 hours a day. Poor loves.
When the shawl was finished, all these extra threads had to be clipped off.
Yeah.
So it leaves a fuzzy back. So this is a very typical Paisley shawl, and it's one of the characteristics which distinguishes it from the original cashmere is that the cashmere won't have a fuzzy back like this.
No.
But the Paisley or the European shawl will always have a fuzzy back because it had to be clipped.
The shawl may have gone out of fashion in the 1870s, but the pattern that has decorated them is still popular today.
Swirling design.
That's
much
glorious, I
much
think.
different than
I think
the
that's
original.
just stunning.
So, while Charlie's been enjoying himself, James has headed 15 miles southwest to Kilburnie. Kilburnie is a small town in North Ayrshire. Amongst many old buildings stands the Walker Hall, a memorial hall dedicated to Dr. Walker, one of the first physicians in the town. Stirrup Cup was originally a dairy farm and is now a horse livery yard. 5 years ago, owner Greta decided to open up an antique shop in their 18th century barn, which is now home to Stirrup Cup Antiques.
Rita Logan.
Greta.
Yes.
Greta, very
Hello.
nice to meet you. I like this, though. Very nice Art Nouveau, sort of like a table centre. It's definitely Art Nouveau. It's very continental colouring, the green and the gilt. So it's definitely French. Nicely finished underneath. I rather like that. It's got a good look to it. It's got £45 on it. Let's see if I can get something off on that.
Before he gets down to the nitty-gritty, something else catches his eye.
Look at these bottles.
Well, they're Drew of Piccadilly, 1905, I think. James, I think they're 1905.
Yeah, they're fittings out of a travelling case, aren't they?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yes.
In your leather travel case, round the edges, you had these sort of pockets, and they fitted into these things. I like those 5 there, and I like your stand there.
Yeah.
Your nouveau stand. What sort of price could you do for the two sort of lots there?
Well...
Very income.
Yeah, the 2 at the back, I had 120 on just on the 2.
Good on you, Greta. For all 5 silver bottles, James is looking at a total price of £245. That's £67.24p more than he's got to spend.
Are you going to put your hand in your pocket for over £300, James?
Yeah, I haven't got 300.
You haven't got 300. Here we go. How much have we got left?
I think she's got the mark of you, James.
So 250 on the lot.
I won't buy all of them. I haven't really got the money and all that sort of thing. That's pretty. Greta, would you take 140 for that, and that?
160.
160. Oh. In the middle?
Okay, then.
£150 lighter, and James is still spending.
I tell you what, I've hardly got a penny left, and I forgot about these. I saw your rather nice, your sort of Hercules doorstops. What do you call these? Is this a big Scottish thing, then, these?
I think that's got to be for tying a horse.
You'd put them in the field, and it was just for tethering an animal.
They did come out of a coach house.
And how much are you selling these for?
30 for the 2.
30 for the 2?
Yeah.
Greta, would you take a tenner for this one?
20.
20, I can't do 20.
15 then.
Could you do 12?
Okay, James.
12. That's really kind. Thank you.
You?
3 items.
You're happy
You need
now?
some cash.
You're happy?
Come on,
I would like some cash, thank
Take
you.
me to your till.
Okay.
Great work, James. It's the end of day 1, and you're nearly spent out. Charlie's going to be busy tomorrow, though. Night-night. Dawn breaks on the chaps. Final push before the grand finale. James got stuck into his first day shopping, spending £230 on 4 lots. The Japanese box, the silver bottles, the mirrored stand, and the horse tether. He has a small £15.76p left to spend. Charlie Ross, meanwhile, has spent £74 on 2 lots. The small 19th century pencil and the enamel inkwell. He has £2,153.10p left to show us who's boss. The road trip is moving us on once more, leaving Kilburney and burning a short 10 miles west to Fairley, where James has given himself a little treat.
Here we are. Lovely. Nice big gates. This is more me. This is more me.
Oh, it's a bit like going home. It was
Situated fairly near Fairley, Kelburn Castle is James Braxton's first port of call.
Have a great, great morning.
This will look superb, won't it?
Originally built in the 13th century, Kelburn Castle is the seat of the Earl of Glasgow and is thought to be the oldest castle in Scotland to have been continuously inhabited by the same family. The present 10th Earl of Glasgow is meeting the lucky James Braxton to show him round and tell him more about 2 of his extraordinary relations.
Now, who's your fine fellow here?
Well, I see. This, in fact, is my great-grandfather.
Right.
And he was a naval captain. And near the end of his career, he was made governor of New Zealand.
Oh, fabulous.
He was absolutely loved. He had a huge family, and he was absolutely loved by the Maoris. And he went around and visited all these various Maori communities all over New Zealand.
Well, he looks a very splendid fellow, doesn't
He
he?
does. I think he was painted to look splendid.
Now, did he bring anything back from New Zealand?
Oh, yes, he brought a lot back from New Zealand. And one of the most interesting ones is this one here, which is a Maori cape. This is one of the Maori chiefs gave this to my great-grandfather, and it actually doesn't look particularly interesting, but it is unique, and this is made all out of kiwi feathers, and I don't think you'd be able to do that now. I think so legally it would be impossible to have a cake like that.
So this is all feathers?
Absolutely, out of kiwis, yes, all kiwi feathers.
A national symbol of New Zealand, the kiwi is a flightless bird that holds a special significance for the Maori. It is symbolic of their elder brothers and sisters, representing protective spirits.
And is this one of many in the world?
It was a Maori who came here to see it, and he said there were less than a dozen of these in the world. My great-uncle Alan was one of those magnificent men in their flying machines, and he was one of the great sort of pioneers of aviation in the very early days. And he held the record for 3 weeks when, in fact, he'd flown his aeroplane something like 400 yards. And that was the record. But unfortunately, the record was broken 3 weeks later by somebody else who did slightly better than he did.
Oh, no.
So but they were accumulating. You know,
So he had a glorious 3 weeks.
I know.
Alan Reginald Boyle was born on the 8th of October 1886 and was the son of the 7th Earl of Glasgow.
What really fascinates me about it is the fact that the wheels are just like sort of bicycle wheels. They just come off your bicycle.
You can see how treacherous they were.
Yeah.
But you can imagine them hitting something and just pitching.
Well, I think that's actually what happened to my great-uncle. He unfortunately, his aeroplane turned over and he landed on his head. And from that moment on, he had slight memory problems. So it was jolly dangerous. As you can see, they were hardly protected.
Yeah.
It must have been a very exciting period if you had the courage.
Yeah.
A very exciting period.
Those pioneering Edwardians.
That's right.
The castle is steeped in history, both inside and out. But one of the more modern aspects is on the south side of the place.
This is a great departure from your normal Scottish castle, isn't it?
Yes, well, it was actually the idea of my son and daughter, who got to know these Brazilian graffiti artists who were longing to paint a Scottish castle and do a... It's really a mural, really, isn't it? We call it graffiti, but it's really a mural. And they came and stayed here. Anyway, they managed to persuade Historic Scotland to let them do it, which rather surprised me.
You're rather hoping they won't be turned down.
Yeah, I was slightly. I know. Anyway, but he wasn't turned down, and they went ahead with it. But now that it's been done, I actually think it's really very, very good. It's tremendously imaginative.
So, James, a mixture of old and new. Meanwhile, Charlie is cruising 15 miles south to Kilwinning. Situated just outside Kilwinning is the beautiful Dalgarvan Mill. Rising through 4 floors and powered by a 6-metre water wheel, this is one of the oldest and tallest grain mills surviving in Scotland. It's a beautiful rural location and is also home to Buyer Antiques and Collectibles. His first shop of the day.
Nice to see you. It's Shane, isn't it? Now this looks interesting. What appears to be a leather volume. I'll open it up and see what's what. Gosh. Ah, it's got its instructions. This looks a really interesting compendium. Roulette, and cribbage boards, chessboard. Fantastic. And I suspect here we'll have the roulette table. God, it's fantastic. And the pack of cards. I think the pack of cards is probably original. This is amazing. What date is this?
1920s.
I notice, Shane, that it hasn't got a price on it.
It's just in actual fact.
Oh, is it?
It is. It's a new piece in.
What sort of money is that?
My best trade on it for you,
Yes.
Charlie, would be £40.
And that, the £40 is the absolute death.
Absolutely.
Leave the
yes.
door if you don't
Exactly.
pay. Sold.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers,
I
Charlie.
think that's great.
I'm glad you
love
like it.
Another great purchase, Charlie.
I think all your furniture's been restored, hasn't it?
It has. I'm a furniture restorer.
Yeah. Have you got anything that's waiting to be restored?
The one piece I have got is the Georgian washstand.
It doesn't really look as if it needs restoration. It needs a bit of work, does it?
Just tidying. If you see the beading, the cork beading.
Oh yes, I
the
can
drawer
see.
fronts.
Yeah.
This lovely piece of Georgian mahogany is being sold without the bowl and the jug.
Well, I better ask. I mean, I'm not intending to buy a bit of furniture, but you know, that might be irresistible.
I could make it very appealing for you.
Could you make it very appealing?
I could. If I could do it for £50. I can see you struggling with it.
It's a great price. I mean, I would say I'd give you £35 cash for it, and if it could be done for that.
Well, if I said to you, if you met me halfway and we do it for £40 for a piece of Georgian furniture.
I couldn't actually say no, could I?
I think it'd be rude to say no.
I think it would be very rude to say no.
This has got to be the deal of the day. Well done, Charlie. With the auction just around the corner, our chaps are back on the road, heading north to Largs.
Yeah, have you got any money left for this last shop?
Tiny amount. I've got something just over £15 and some pence.
Yeah.
So I think I do want to try and spend up.
A town on the Firth of Clyde, Largs' most famous monument is the Pencil. Built in 1912 to commemorate the Battle of Largs, when the Scots defeated Norway's troops on the shore at Largs in 1263. What took 'em so long?
It's glorious, isn't it? Very Scottish Riviera.
A former cinema, Narducci Antiques, has been open since 1969 and is the scene for our final show-stopping showdown of the week.
Are you feeling lucky, Mr. Watson?
I am. Oh, look, there's a staircase. There are things up there.
Oh, that's where the bargains will be. Unseemly rush, sir. What have you got for £15.76?
Well, we cater for most pockets, so, I mean, nothing take your eye, or...
Even smaller ones? It hasn't really, no.
Bargain rack at a fiver?
Sorry?
In the bargain rack at a fiver?
Now, what attracts you to any of these items, then, Frankie?
Oh, that's over to you. You're doing the buying.
Yeah.
Well said, Franco. Come on, James.
Good. Well, I think I'll keep looking. That's very kind.
Thankfully, it's not long before something takes his fancy.
Oh, there's your salt pot. Unfortunately, it's cracked. It is... Here's your glazed. For keeping salt in.
So was Ayrshire your sort of Stoke-on-Trent? Was that your potteries?
It was.
Was it?
Can do that for a tenner if it's any good.
It's quite fun, isn't it? You say a salt box.
Just for keeping the salt dry. You just keep the dampness from it.
Yeah. What about a fiver, Franco?
£8. We'll meet you in the middle.
7 and I'll do it.
On you go. On you go. We're here to
Thanks.
sell.
Thanks.
Excellent piece of negotiating there, James, and very clever taking Ayrshire pottery to an Ayrshire auction.
A pair of quite fancy wall brackets over here. They look as if they're brass. They are. And they're pretty blooming stylish. Chunky. I think they are originally made for electricity, but early electricity. They're early 20th century, and I like those. God, I'd love to buy those for less than £100. The little chance, I suspect.
Well, if anyone can seal the deal, you can, Charlie.
You probably forgot they were even here, did you?
No. I know my stock, I know my stock.
Oh, do you? They've got nothing on them.
They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're early 20th century, I suppose. What sort of money are they?
£60.
I quite like your opening gambit there. They've got good weight.
Good look, too.
And they're a very good look, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. I think those are great. They could be cleaned up a treat. If I pulled out 40 Scottish notes, would that do the deal?
No, but if you put a friendly 50, you can have them.
A nifty 50?
A nifty 50, and it's a deal.
I think they're fantastic. Thank you
thanks.
very much indeed.
Thank you.
You look spent up.
I am almost spent up. And you? Did you find something?
Yes, I did. And I'm very pleased with what I bought.
And with that, it's time to go. And for the very last time, in a rather theatrical fashion, reveal all from two old thespians.
This is it.
This is it.
First up is Charlie's Games Compendium.
I love this.
That doesn't spin.
Oh. And how much do you pay for that?
I paid...
Don't say under £30.
£40 for it.
£40.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good buy.
Time for your Japanese box, James.
Here we are. I just bought this very curious item.
That's gorgeous. Where's the lid?
No lid, unfortunately. It didn't have a lid.
It's glorious. I'd love that in my house. And you paid?
£68.
Well done, Brackers.
Charlie liked your box, but what will you make of his wall sconces?
Hey, they look nice.
They're heavy brass wall sconces.
Oh,
I mean, they
hey,
are.
How did I miss
They are
those?
20th century and made for electricity. They haven't been converted or anything.
They're
But I
nice.
just thought they were the business. Do you like those?
They're lovely weight. I would estimate
honesty.
those at 80 to 120
Yeah.
at auction.
Yeah.
How much?
50 quid.
Well done.
Now for James's mirrored plateau.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, hey, hey.
Art Nouveau handles are glorious.
Yeah.
I would expect to pay between 60 and 80 pounds.
Really? You're being kind.
No.
I paid £40 for it.
I've gone to France for my next lot. It's a little inkwell.
Oh, that's pretty.
And unusually, it's on a little Serb-style plaque at the
that's
bottom
nice.
with a couple of decorated putty.
How much do you pay for that? 50 to 80.
54 quid.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's a fair price.
I wonder what he'll make of your stone horse tetherer.
Good grief!
There we are. Oh,
Magnificent.
I quite like it. It's quite like a large egg.
A ship, a horse.
A horse. Well done. It's a livestock tetherer.
That was 25 quid.
You're teasing me. It was £12.
Was it really?
What's your next... What's your next item?
It's a little
What is
propelling pencil.
Is this gold?
There's no hallmark on it.
That's rather nice, isn't it?
Wonder whether it might be gold. I paid 20 quid for it.
From possible gold to definite silver.
Hello. Well, you've got 100 quid's worth of silver there before you start.
I paid 110.
Well done. 160 they'll make.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
160.
Now for Charlie's mahogany washstand.
Yeah.
That-
You as an auctioneer will look at something
I
like
like
that and
that.
say, Roscoe, that's unsaleable.
No, I like a washstand.
Yeah.
That looks a nice Regency washstand.
Yeah.
Is it Regency?
Well, it's George III Regency. It's 18, whatever you like.
Yeah.
1810.
Sheraton,
yeah.
isn't it?
Well, it could be 1790, but, you know,
Okay.
let's put it at 1800.
Yeah.
Let's split
Yeah.
the difference. In today's market, what will it make?
I would say it would make
Be realistic. You know what furniture's like.
£150.
No, don't be silly, Brackers.
Yeah,
£150?
I think so, yeah. How much do you pay?
40 quid.
Well, I think that is a sensational buy.
Indeed, kind words, James. But will Charlie say the same for your last lot, the Ayrshire lead-glazed bin, which you've eccentrically decided to sell lidless?
Nice object. And presumably if he'd had it for a few years, you took that away from under his nose.
I did.
And you bought that for less than £50,
Less than 50.
Did you? What did you pay?
I bought that for less than £10.
You're a thief, Mr. Braxton. You are just missing your mask.
The final curtain is about to be drawn, but first it's time to hear what they really think.
I liked his washstand, and at £40, that was daylight robbery, I think. You know, the dear old Roscoe, he likes to pretend he's a sort of bumbling old idiot, but he's on the money, isn't he?
James has bought some really great lots. I like his stoneware trough. Cost now £7? Robbery.
It's been an eventful final leg for our two excited experts from Kilbarcan via Kilburney, Kilwinning and Largs. Auction day is here, and it's the final showdown for James and Charlie in Ayr.
Now, I've been chasing furniture down for some decades now. Every time I see something, I say, I'm never going to buy any more English brown furniture. And then a piece comes in so cheaply that you really think that there is a profit. And there never is.
Never is.
Established in 1933, Thomas R. Callan is a family-run business of auctioneers and valuers, selling over 25,000 lots every year. Auctioneer Michael Callan is the third generation of the family to handle the gavel, and he's kindly cast an eye over our experts' choices.
The Japanese lacquered box is one of my favourite items. It just oozes quality. Unfortunately, it hasn't got a cover, it's missing a handle, and it has got issues with condition. Today, in its present condition, about £100. I quite like the propelling pencil, late 19th century, beautifully decorated with light engraving and a beautiful little purple amethyst to the end. It's still in perfect working condition. and it should make between 20 and 40 pounds.
James started this last leg of the road trip with £245.76p and spent £237 on 5 auction lots.
Rolls. Got a rolls for you, Silver.
Charlie began with £2,227.10p and spent £204, also on 5 auction lots. Frankly, James was never going to catch Charlie after his mammoth win. The best he can do is to try to win this final auction. They're 2-all in auction victories, so for the last time, let the auction begin! First to go under the hammer is James's Ayrshire lead glazed bin.
God, it
looks gorgeous.
Is it 60 for it? 60 pounds. 40. 40 pounds. 40 on bid in the corner at 40 in advance. 45. 50. At
Cost
50
7.
in advance in the 50. Corner at 50. Are we all out at 50? All finished at 50 pounds. 422.
Mr. Braxton. That's very...
It certainly was, James. That's a brilliant profit to start on.
That's wonderful. That's good, isn't it?
Now for Charlie's inkwell.
Decorative wee piece with a hand-painted porcelain base with the cherubs. 30. 30 pounds. 30 on bid. 35. 40. 45. 50. 55. 60. At 60 in advance and 60. Yep. 65. 70. 75. 80. 85. 90. 95. At 95, behind at 95. At 95 pounds in advance and 95. All finishing at 95 pounds.
Well done.
475.
My word.
95, I didn't think that was going to happen, did you?
Oh, ye of little faith.
Fantastic result, Charlie. Just £2 now behind James.
We got a battle on today, Brackers, haven't we?
85, 90. Yeah, then lot 103 then. A lovely late 19th century propelling pencil. They are for the pencil. 50 for it, 50 pounds. 40. 20 pounds. 20 pounds. 20 on bid at 25. 30. 35. 40. At 40 in advance and 40 in middle and 40 in advance and 40 pounds. At 40. Are you all out? All finished then at 40 pounds. 449.
Very good, very good.
I'm warming to this auctioneer with every lot he sells.
You're onto a winning streak here, Charlie, and are edging out in front.
I tell you what, they look at business.
Let's see if James's silver bottles can shake things up.
£100. £100 a 3. 100 on bid at 100, 110, 120, 130. At 130 in advance and 130, 140. At 140 in advance and 140. At 140 in advance.
140 plus the premium.
Are you all out? All finished at £140.
You've got a profit. You've got a profit. But it's a profit. Yeah, you're all right.
A couple of quid.
Yeah.
All finished then.
Yes, James, the auction house must take its earnings, but chin up, it's still a profit.
Lot 177 in the Games Compendium. 19,
Up next is Charlie's Games Compendium.
80 for it, 80, 60 pounds. 60 pounds, compendium. 40. 40 pounds. 20 then. 20, 25, 30. 30, 35, behind it 35. 40. 45. At 45, behind it 45. All finished. Selling at £45. 475, 45.
Wiped its face.
Yeah, I'm not
178.
wildly thrilled about that. I thought it was a good lot.
What a pity. I really thought that would do better.
£40.
I think with commission, I've lost a couple of quid there.
20
National disaster, Brackers.
The wrong side.
Never mind. Come on, sir. Come on.
Gilt metal.
Time for your mirrored plateau next, James. This is your chance to race into the lead.
80 for it, 80,
that's a
40.
nice thing.
£40.
God.
Beautiful condition. £40.
Giving me the heebie-jeebies,
20.
this is.
£20 other side. 20 on
That's
bid. At
ridiculous.
20, 25. At 30, 35.
Come on.
At 35. Are you all out? All finished then at 35. 477, 35.
James, I'm disappointed with that.
93.
Chin up, James. Despite the £5 loss, you're still out in front.
Cool, it's coming down to the wire, this one, Brackers.
Next on display are Charlie's brass wall sconces.
80 for them, 80, 40 pounds. 40 on bid, at 40 in advance and 40, 45, 50, at 50, corner at 50 in advance and 50. At 50 pounds for the pair.
They're cheap, aren't they?
At 50 pounds it's the corner, 55 new bidder.
55
At
new bidder.
55 in advance and 55. We all out, middle at 55, finish in at 55 pounds.
Oh dear. I really had confidence in this.
Squandered opportunity. Another opportunity gone.
I'd have paid more than 55 for them.
So would I, but I couldn't. Sorry.
And to think it started off so positively.
I've had the wind taken out of my sails.
Next is James's horse tetherer.
It's an ancient throwing stone from the Highland Games. 40 pounds. 20. 20 pounds a tether. 10. 10 on bid, at 10, 15. Bidding. 20 in the corner, 25. At 25, lady at 25. In advance and 25.
Good investment.
Are you all out? All finished then at 25 pounds, 458.
Well done, that lady.
Well done, madam.
Well done.
What are you going to tie onto it? Your husband?
Behave yourself, Roscoe. James, that was a very good investment.
So we are down to the wire.
We are down to the
A
wire.
week's solid toil and we're down to the last lot.
James is currently in the lead, and his Japanese box is up next.
Oozes quality.
Oozes quality. It's a
There
bit
you
like
are.
its owner.
Is there £100 for it? 100. 80. 40 pounds. 40 pounds. 40 on bid, at 40 in advance and 40.
We're away.
45.
45.
50. 55. 60. 65. 70. 75. 80. 85. 90. On the left at 90 in advance.
Keep going.
90.
Keep
At
going.
90 pounds in advance and 90. We all out. All finishing at 90 pounds. 436. 90.
It's not a bad result, Brackers, to be honest.
382. The lounge table.
But compared with your purchase price, come on, it's a profit, old boy.
I know, I'm pleased.
Chin up, Brackers.
I am pleased. I am pleased.
James, you've ended on a high. With one lot to go, you're in the lead. Charlie, it all comes down to your washstand, mate. You need to make a profit of £36 to be able to declare victory in today's show.
80. 50 then. 50 on bid.
50.
At 50, 55, 60, 65. At 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 110, 120, 130.
Crackers.
At 130 in advance and 130. At £130 in advance. It's a back at 130. Are you all out? All finished and it's £130.
Well done. Well done. 130.
Down to the wire, they Brackers.
That's very good.
Absolutely down to the wire.
Very good.
What a result, Charlie, and a fantastic profit to end this road trip adventure.
Well done, Roscoe. A deserved winner.
Gosh. Down to the last lot, though. Doesn't
It
come
is.
closer than that,
No.
does it? Fabulous.
Very good indeed.
James began his last voyage with £245.76p. After paying auction costs, he made a profit of £41.80p. He ends this week with a not to be laughed at £287.56p. The legendary Charlie Ross was always going to be a tough nut to beat. He started this leg with £2,227.10p and made a healthy profit of £95.30p. Charlie wins the week in spectacular fashion with an enormous £2,322.40p. And all monies raised will go to children in need.
I feel rather defeated now, Brackers.
Where's everybody gone?
I don't know.
Is it all over? Your last lot was that.
Do you think we could go back up to the Black Isle and start again?
Yeah, I'll be buying Staffordshire.
What a week it's been. Since leaving Cromarty, our experts have travelled over 600 miles through the glorious Scottish countryside. They've embraced the good and the bad of Scotland's weather.
Never had a better view of the Highlands, Brackers.
James discovered a soft spot for nice items.
That's a nice start. It's nice to see something I like.
It's very nice. It's just a nice item. I like this shop. It's really nice. It's got some nice things, all nice, clean. It's lovely.
Nice one, Cyril, whilst Charlie went straight for gold.
For the last down, £2,700.
Take us back, take us back.
They've laughed from start to finish and bonded in the most unusual of ways.
Are you with me? I can't keep this posture up for much longer. My body is normally like this. But it's like...